This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow with your boys here. You can call me Truck, and I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Shane O'Mac as he's adjusting his chair for the perfect height. And today we're talking Week 13, red light, green light, players who like, players who don't like. We're going to get into all that fun stuff. But before we do, you guys know the drill. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, get with the program, and help support the podcast. We really appreciate it. Shane, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. We got, when this comes out tomorrow, everybody will be enjoying Thanksgiving feast. I mean,
yes. Oh, that's right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Shane, what is your favorite dish?
So mine is, I go to, my favorite is stuffing, but I do have a system where it is stuffing, potatoes, turkey, and then everything's just drenched in gravy. So it's
okay, a little hodgepodge.
Foods can mix. I don't care, and everything is just smothered in the gravy.
Well, that's a great way to do it. I my favorite dish is the green bean casserole.
Yeah, that's good.
I make it a nice. I use a cream of chicken and wild rice soup instead of your traditional cream of mushroom. Phenomenal. So that's always my favorite. But yeah, I love everything about Thanksgiving. I get seconds, I get thirds. I go to two different Thanksgivings because me and my girlfriend would go to different places. We go to her family's house, then my family's house. So I get double Thanksgiving food. I love it. Love Thanksgiving. It's kind of around my birthday. By the way, last episode we filmed on my birthday. Didn't even mention it at all.
We didn't even know. Holy crap.
I was busy. I was working that day, and it just escaped me. But yeah, happy birthday to me. But yeah, anyway, Thanksgiving's awesome, right? What else is there to say? We got a lot of good football on. Yeah. We got the Bears Lions, we got the Giants Cowboys, we got the what's the last game?
Packers Dolphins.
Yeah. So hopefully we talk about some of these matchups today in this episode.
And then, by the way, people, don't forget, we've got a Black Friday afternoon game on Friday.
That's right. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Afternoon?
Yeah, 3:00. Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's an odd kickoff
I did
time.
Not know that.
Just everyone be aware of that.
I did not know that. I thought that was at night. The 3:00 game is kind of weird on a Friday. What was it last year? Was it 3:00 last year?
I think it was in the afternoon. Yeah, because I think it was Jets Dolphins, if I remember.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember it being that early, but it is what it is. Hey, at least we're getting a game on Friday as well. So a lot of good football. Week 12 was crazy. Yeah. How about I think that was the craziest week I've watched football. It was just. I mean, every game, Bears game going to overtime was awesome. But, I mean, your Dallas game was literally insane.
13-9 with, I think, 7.5 minutes left.
Yeah, and what was the final score? 35-20, 24, 27? Yeah, that was just chaos, and it made me really appreciate football, right? Yeah. I just love football, love the game. That was awesome.
Yep.
But we're moving on to Week 13 now, okay? And I noticed something. There's not a single team on bye.
No. Yeah.
Yet there's 6 teams on bye in Week 14. Why does the NFL do this to us?
Yep.
We are trying to get into the playoffs here. They know the majority of people watching football. I don't know about the majority of the people watching football play fantasy football, but a large portion of the people watching play fantasy football. And now you're, Week 13, hey, you need to get a win. Here's nobody on a bye. But the game right before playoffs start, 6 teams on a bye.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a full slate for the first time since Week 4. There's not a single bye week this week, and we got a lot of good games. So it makes this red light, green light a little bit better, in my opinion, because we have everybody playing, right? So we have no handicaps on our picks and who we recommend to start and who we recommend to sit. So let's get right into it, Shane. Red light quarterbacks, who you got?
So my number one guy I'm going with is coming off a monster week. I mean, put up 4 touchdowns.
Wow,
300 yards, I think it was. And
wow,
I'm red lighting Tua, and there's a couple factors I don't like about this game. Is one, it's going to be at night, so you're looking at high teens temperature, and I cannot remember. I tried to find the exact stats, but when it's been 35 or under, Tua is 0-4. His touchdowns to interceptions are reversed. He just plays worse in cold weather game, but also this is a pretty good Green Bay defense. Like over the last 3 games, giving up 180 passing yards per game, and our top 5 in fewest passing touchdowns allowed during that span. So I just think this sets up for a really tough game for Tua and this offense as a whole in a cold weather night game.
Yeah, that game. I was looking at all the stats and stuff, and I mean both defenses are really good against the pass.
Yep, they are.
So like this is going to be a tough game. Probably a lot of Josh Jacobs, a lot of Devon Achane, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking for this game. So, but I agree with your pick. Tua's a tough start. I'm going to go with Thursday's game, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, and I'm red lighting Jared Goff. Okay. Yeah. Now, I mean, I get it. Jared Goff and this team, they're rolling, but this is a run first team, right? When they get in the red zone, they run the ball. You can see all the stats with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery's rushing touchdowns. They're insane. But 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he's finished outside the top 15. So he's not on a hot streak lately, so to speak. Chicago's allowing the second fewest points to quarterbacks and the third fewest passing touchdowns. So, I think with the Bears being bad against the run, right? Detroit being the best running team, it's going to be a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You know what I mean? So you sure Jared Goff could have 250 passing yards, but no passing touchdowns. That equals to a bad week for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, it was when you said that stat in his only big game where he was under, where he finished inside the top 15, that was against the awful Jacksonville game where they just steamrolled.
Yeah, he torched them.
It was long touchdown, easy plays all over the place.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be one of those games where Detroit wins by like 30 points.
No.
Chicago's been playing a lot better. Yeah. So I think the game will stay close, but Detroit's running game, you just can't stop it, and I don't think the Bears are going to be able to. So I'm red lighting Jared Goff.
Yep.
Did you have any other ones?
No, that was my main one.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's move over to green light quarterbacks. Shane, who do you like this week? Who are you stepping the gas on?
I like 2 guys this week, and first one is CJ Stroud. Like, it's been a tough year for the Stroud owners. Like, everybody kind of picked him to be like a top 5 option, and he's outside the top 12 for the year. But I think 2 things are helping. Like, one, it looks noticeably different with a fully healthy Nico Collins in that offense. And like over the last 2 weeks, Nico and Stroud's had 2 touchdowns called back because of the stupid illegal procedure call that I hate. And then also now he's facing Jacksonville, and that's just a plush matchup, giving up the most passing yards and the most passing touchdowns per game this year. It sets up nicely for, I think the floor for Stroud is 2 passing touchdowns and 250. That's the floor.
Yeah, he's better than he's been playing, right? And I mean, of course, he's going to get held to a high standard after having one of the best rookie seasons a quarterback has ever had, right? So sophomore slumps are real, and I think he bounces back this week. So I agree with you there. My green light quarterback this week is quarterback 5 on the year, and he's finally getting the respect he deserves. And he needs to be mentioned. Baker Mayfield, right?
Oh, yeah.
You start in Baker Mayfield without a doubt, and you're starting him confidently, especially against Carolina. I think he's going to have another top 5 week today or this week. Very confident. But, he only 1 touchdown, only 1 passing touchdown in the last 2 weeks combined. So it's not like he's been playing crazy good as of late, but I think those games are coming here. Mike Evans being back and fully healthy is a huge uptick for this offense. And Carolina's pass defense is really bad. So, I think Tampa Bay, I know Carolina played a good game against Kansas City, and I'm hoping they do against Tampa Bay to keep it close. But I love Baker Mayfield this week. He's a smash play.
Yeah, the thing about him, watching him over the last 2-3 weeks, is he's really adding a lot in the rushing production side of things. It's helping
Yeah,
him. You're
going out
getting
there lead blocking too,
yeah,
like
and you're
just
getting 3 points from him rushing or rushing touchdown adding on. So that's big. The other second guy I had just as a if you're stuck in a streaming option or your starter doesn't have a great matchup, I think this is a sneaky start week for Matthew Stafford. I was looking at this Saints defense. I was a little surprised. I didn't think they were this bad. But they're giving up the third most passing yards per game this year. And, they don't have Lattimore, obviously, anymore. And I kind of liked what I saw from Stafford last week. Like, I wasn't expecting him against that Philly defense to finish as a top 10 quarterback. And he finished as a QB8 for the week. So he's had 2 straight QB8 or better finishes the last 2 weeks. And I think this is another spot, since he's got everybody healthy, that he could be. It's another safe floor where I think it's 250 and 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I love Stafford. I just love Stafford and the Rams. They're just, even in a tough matchup, he still finds a way to get it done. So
Yeah.
I love that play as well. Let's move over to running backs. Shane, who are you pressing the brakes on? Who's the red light running back of the week?
All right, this one's gonna hurt you a little bit. I'm sorry, I got to do
No,
this.
don't do it.
I don't like James Conner this week.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say someone else.
No, I don't like him. Listen, he had a rough game at Seattle, but this is another one of those sneaky good defenses that people aren't talking very much about that I see. Minnesota, they've given up the fewest rushing yards per game this year, which was kind of a surprise to me. But then I was like, the last 3 games, they are only giving up 55 rushing yards per game. They just held, I think Swift, only had 30 yards rushing against them.
Yep.
It's just a much tougher defense than people talk about or mention.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, right? I love James Conner. I'll say it every episode as loud as I can. I love James Conner.
Yeah, and props to him. He hasn't got hurt this week, like many, including myself. I mean, this year, like he has not had the injury that a lot of us predicted would happen.
No, I drafted a lot of Trey Benson just in case, and hasn't really panned out. Yeah, James Conner is a beast. Okay, that's not a secret. He is a monster of a man, but you're going to have some tough sledding this week against Minnesota. Their defense is just elite against the run. So, I can get behind that. My red light is someone close to my heart, which I thought you were going to mention, is DeAndre Swift with the Bears. Like you mentioned, he had 30 rushing yards last week. But most importantly, with Thomas Brown at offensive coordinator, this Bears offense is much more pass focused, much more pass centric. They're not really focusing on the run. And on top of that, Roschon Johnson is vulturing touchdowns.
Yeah.
When they get in the red zone, it's Roschon Johnson time. So DeAndre Swift is just an afterthought right now in this offense. I mean, he's still productive on the ground, but he's just not getting the touchdowns, and he's not getting as many carries as he did early on. And he's not really efficient with the carries that he's getting, partly because the Bears offensive line still isn't where it needs to be. So, and then Detroit, second fewest fantasy points to running backs. Third fewest touchdowns, fourth fewest touchdowns. But it's going to be a tough game. I can't see DeAndre Swift doing much in this game on Thursday.
Yeah, you're going to have to hope for touchdown wise. It's something outside the 5-10 yard line because Roschon's coming in for everything near the goal line.
Yeah, and he's getting it done. So why veer away from that?
Yeah.
So
the other second running back I had is much like coming off a great game. He was the RB8 last week. That's Nick Chubb, and this is also another matchup I don't like. Going into Denver, on the road, Monday night game. Over their last 3 games, Denver's given up the second fewest rushing yards per game. In that game last week against Pittsburgh, Chubb got 20 carries, but they were either tied or up on Pittsburgh most of that game to get him to 20 carries. I'm not sure in Denver if that's the case in Bo Nix in this offense. I think they'll be behind early. And I don't see him getting to a big carry touch mark.
Yeah, no, I completely get where you're coming from. He's just hasn't really been the main guy there. Bo Nix is getting it done, right?
Yeah, he looks
with
good.
his arm, with his legs, however he needs to, he's getting it done. So yeah, Javonte is tough play this week, so I wouldn't recommend it as well. All right, well, let's move on to green light running backs. Shane, go ahead, kick it off with your green light running back of the week.
I normally don't do this twice in a row, 2 weeks in a row, but I just, man, when I saw the schedule, like he was the first guy that popped out of any position for me, and that's Bucky Irving. Like I'm with you to the end of the line, Bucky. You know, a little reference there to Captain America, but if anybody got
yes,
it,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, the winter soldier, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, so God, there's a lot of things to like. I mentioned it last week. When he gets to 12 carries or more, he is a top 12 running back. He got 12 carries last week. I think he can easily get there this week when he faces Carolina, who's given up the most fantasy points to running back. But the production is just crazy. Like he doubled the yards per carry of Rachaad White had. And then so he's not only being a better runner, but also then he also had a 20% target share. He ended up with 6 catches. So he's also eating into White's receiving production. So he's just, I think, establishing him as the clear better back. And in a great matchup like this, he should hit that 12 carry or more mark.
I completely agree. He's on my list as well. That's my green light play of the week. Bucky Irving is just something special right now. He's only had one bad game in the last 6 weeks. Back-to-back games with 70-plus yards and a touchdown. And then taking the thunder from Rachaad White in the passing game last week was just very intriguing. So, yeah, Bucky Irving, just a smash play this week. He should dominate that game.
And I think some people are going to have some tough calls. Like, I mean, because where you drafted or picked up Irving, like he was a reserve back for you. So you could probably need to be starting him over some other top guys maybe this week.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. He's not someone that you drafted high. You picked him up off the waiver wire. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. But he should be in the lineup. No question about it. So, I love that. Shane, did you have any other ones?
One other running back, and he's been, for both of us, he's been on both sides of this show, and it's Tony Pollard. Now
he bounces back and forth, red light, green light, green light.
Him and Sam Darnold are seesaw picks. They're back and forth. I think some people might be maybe a little nervous this week because I think Spears is coming back off of his concussion. But I don't think in a first game back he's going to eat away too much at that carries. Pollard had a great game with a heavy workload last week. Washington is bottom 5 in most rushing yards allowed per game. And over their last 3, they're allowing over 150 yards. I mean, we just saw Rico Dowdle put up a top 20 running back finish against them. So I really like Pollard again this week.
Yeah, I mean, he looks really good. Looks really good out there. And Will Levis got these boys playing. So this Titans team is looking legit right now. And Tony Pollard's a big piece of that. So completely agree there. Let's move over to wide receiver, Shane. Red light wide receiver, who you got?
I'm going with one guy, and this hurts me because I have him in multiple leagues, and it's a guy that you're probably not ever benched really this year, but I can get around the notion of benching DK Metcalf. This year. And there's a couple of reasons. And because I have him in multiple leagues, I kind of dived into this to try to see if I could verify my suspicions. And so number one, like the volume has not been there for him. Like only twice in the last 7 games has he gone over 4 catches in a game. And he only has 1 touchdown in that span. So there is not a high target volume. And I'm sure that correlates with, I mean, we've been seeing what huge games JSN has had. But then also, he's going to be exclusively on the outside. They don't move him around in the slot. That's where JSN is. So he's going to be on Sauce Gardner. So I looked to see, okay, has he played Sauce Gardner? So 2 years ago, he played Sauce Gardner, and he was held to 1 catch for 3 yards. So it's a bad matchup. As bad as the Jets are as a team, as an organization, secondary and defensive wide, they're still in the top 3 in fewest passing yards allowed. on fantasy points allowed to receive.
Yeah. Have you seen the memes that are going around about Sauce Gardner?
No, I have not.
They're saying the sauce has expired.
Oh, no.
Yeah, apparently he's lost his juice. His stats aren't as good as they were last year. And, I mean, I still think he's a great corner and a great part of that defense. So I don't necessarily agree with those comments, but he's not as dominant or as elite as he was last year. So, yeah, the sauce has expired is what the people are saying, which I thought was funny. But, yeah, I mean, DK, it's tough to start him or it's tough to trust him. Especially in these matchups that you got to win to get into the playoffs. So I don't have him in many leagues, and I'm kind of happy about that right now, even though he was great in the beginning. JSN is just on an absolute tear.
Yep.
So I love that. My red light wide receiver is playing on Thursday. Okay. He's playing for the Green Bay Packers, and it's Jayden Reed. All right. Oh. Now, Jayden Reed is wide receiver 13 on the season. And looking at his stats, I don't know how that is. I thought there was some type of typo. I'm like, there's no way he's wide receiver 13 with the fantasy finishes that he's had so far this season. But it's been a lot of boom or bust. He's been struggling lately. 4 of the last 5 games, he's been wide receiver 41 or worse. So 4 of the last 5 games, which adds to the point, how is he wide receiver 13? Like, you should look at it real quick because it's pretty remarkable. Yeah. Miami's given up the fewest touchdowns to wide receivers and the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. They are the toughest matchup right now for opposing wide receivers. Jayden Reed hasn't been getting it done lately, and I don't think he's going to get it done on Thanksgiving. So if you got him, put him on the bench.
Yeah, and that kind of correlates. I was looking here to verify because I think so. So that correlates with Jordan Love. It's not been great over the last 3 weeks, and
I was very close to putting him on the red light list this week.
And they're not passing very much. So this is what I thought. The last 2 weeks, only 17 and 23 attempts. That's not a high pass volume game. So yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
The other guy I have, and I guess I should have said I had 2 guys that you're probably starting most weeks because this guy's probably still being started in most leagues, and it's Zay Flowers. There's a couple things that is going on here. So one, the matchup. I think we'll see the rookie Mitchell locked up against him most of the time. And let me just read off some of these because I wrote these down just to verify some of these wide receivers that Mitchell has gone against. Drake London, 1 catch, 5 yards. Chris Olave, 2 catches, 23 yards. Mike Evans, 2 catches, 19 yards. Malik Neighbors, 1 catch, 9 yards. Jamar Chase, 2 catches, 19 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 1 catch, 5 yards. Terry McLaurin, 0 catches. This guy is really producing. And if they're smart, they will have him kind of stick with Zay Flowers. And then the other thing, we saw it on Monday night against the Chargers, Bateman is getting these weird, big, long plays and targets in the end zone. And so,
what's his name is completely irrelevant.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't think he can sniff a catch.
You're getting 1 target and just no reception.
Nothing for Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Since that trade.
That why trade for him?
That's been awful.
What are you doing as an organization trading for a legit wide receiver in Deontay Johnson and you give him 1 target and he's just I don't know what's going on in that locker room or what's going on in that situation, but something's off because that just makes 0 sense.
Yep.
0 sense. But yeah, Quinyon Mitchell and those Eagles, they've been playing some really good football.
Yep, they have.
They're a legit Super Bowl contender. The defense is flying around, and Mitchell is a big part of that. So yeah, that's those stats surprised me.
Yeah,
those stats, you got me with those ones. I was a bit off there. All right, what about green light wide receiver Shane? Who do you got?
First guy I like, and he at least his start percentage is creeping up now each week. It's not as high as I think it should be, and it's Courtland Sutton. There's just a lot to like here. Number one, let's just talk about the volume. So over his last 6 weeks, here's his targets: 11, 10, 9, 8, 10. And in all those games, he's had at least 6 catches and at least 70 yards receiving. And then this was an interesting stat. Shout out to Fantasy Points Data. They put out some really good stats after weekly games are over. Since week 8, there's been only 4 other receivers that have had a better yards per catch efficiency. And so usually that number it's considered elite at 2.5, and his is like almost 3. So it's like he's been great.
Let me ask you, is Courtland Sutton a top 10 wide receiver right now in fantasy football?
After the last, I don't know for the year if he would be, honestly. I'd have to look it up.
I'm just saying, like, where would you rank him right now? In like rest of season. I know there's only a couple.
Yeah, rest of season, I would definitely put him inside the top 15.
That's what I mean. Like he's like a legit, like encroaching top 10 right now, which is.
But it's crazy because when I was looking at start percentages, like before last week, it was still in like the 60s for start percentage.
People just don't trust it. I don't know why.
It's crazy.
He was on my list as well, man. Courtland Sutton is just just outlandish right now with the way that he's been playing with Bo Nix. So, yeah, great matchup. And he's a top 10 play this week, in my opinion. Yeah. So, love that. My green light wide receiver, I got another Thanksgiving play. I got the majority of my picks are all on Thanksgiving, part of my theme. It's Keenan Allen, okay? Keenan Allen, 15 targets last week. It looked like vintage Keenan Allen, where he was getting 15 to 16 targets a game. Like I said, with Thomas Brown and this Bears offense is much more pass attack, right? And Keenan Allen has been there. He's been reliable for Caleb Williams. DJ Moore is still going to be going on, and so is Adunze. But Keenan Allen is the sure and steady guy that he's targeting. And he has a couple drops, okay? He didn't play the greatest game that Keenan Allen's ever played, but still 15 targets is great. And Detroit, you can throw on Detroit. And I think Detroit could go up early. The Bears are going to be doing that whole thing they've been doing the last couple of weeks where they're coming back late, making big plays after big plays after big plays. And Keenan Allen is the reason why the Bears have been able to do that the last couple of weeks. So I'm very confident in starting Keenan Allen this week, and I'm happy he's in one of my leagues.
Yeah, over the last 3 weeks, he is first on that team in first read percentage throws. So he is the number one guy being looked at for sure in that offense.
And it's what we talked about, right? It was like, who's going to be the number one wide receiver? We don't know. Yep. Is it DJ Moore? Parts of the season, it was DJ Moore. Is it Keenan Allen? Parts of the season, is Keenan Allen. Is Rome Odunze going to get in the mix? So it's like, right now, it's Keenan Allen. Yep. And I love him this week against Detroit. I think we see another double-digit target performance out of Keenan Allen this week.
Yep, I like him.
All right. Did you have any other green light?
One other second one real quick, and I think people are going to be quick to maybe put him on the bench after this week, but I would still start Marvin Harrison Jr. after his done week. I know
he only have 2 games where he has more than 40 yards.
He has these bad games. I think this is just a bounce back game. This is the get right game. Listen, we just saw the Bears wide receivers put up over 200 yards receiving against this Vikings defense.
Shane, is this the gut feel guy of the week?
This is the gut feel guy of the week. Okay. The Vikings are giving up over 33 fantasy points per game to receivers. Put him back in. This is he's going to have your bounce back game. This is going to happen.
I sure hope so. I hope for your sake. I mean, this is Marvin Harrison is just been a dud.
It has been awful. Yes, I know.
Stick in the mud.
Yes.
A dud. Right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I agree, though. If he's going to do it at all, it's going to be this week, right? Yeah. You know, and he is way too talented to continue underperforming. So I can get on board. I don't have the balls to put him on my green light list because he's Marvin Harrison and he hasn't been playing well. So hats off to you and good luck with that pick. But that's a tough one. All right, so let's do red light tight ends. Shane, who do you not like this week?
I am going to red light Mark Andrews. I think
didn't he just score a touchdown?
Yes, he did. He did.
He played. He had a good game,
Monday night. He had a good game. Okay. I just think this matchup, and we see this like Isaiah Likely will go on and off, kind of on and off. And Eagles are top 5 in fewest fantasy points allowed to position. I feel like in Philadelphia, this could be more of a game like it was in Pittsburgh, where he's held to I think it was 2 or 3 catches for 21 yards or something. I think this is probably a down game in Philadelphia on a tough road defense that they're facing.
Yeah, who do you think wins that game?
I think the Eagles are going to win that game.
I think so too.
I think
so too. Baltimore just beat the Chargers, who are a good team. So, I don't know, but yeah, the Ravens are inconsistent with their passing attack. So I completely understand where you're coming from. My red light tight end, guess what day he's playing, Shane?
Thursday.
He's playing on Thursday, and he's your team's tight end. That's Schoonmaker. Okay, Schoonmaker. Look, top 10 each of the last 2 weeks, and I questioned whether or not to even put him on here, but I feel like people may have picked him up and were considering starting him, which is not a great idea. The New York Giants have a sneaky good defense against tight ends. They're allowing the fewest receptions to tight ends and only 1 touchdown on the year. So I wouldn't be playing him. Okay.
No.
If you picked him up, great, keep him on your bench. But the old Schoonmaker is who I'm red lighting this week.
I like it also because there is a decent chance Brandon Cooks is back playing for this game. So that's going to take away some targets also. So,
Yep. All right. What about green light tight ends? Who are we ending on, Shane? Who's your streamer green light?
The streamers. We have brought you guys like Will Dissly, Jonnu Smith, Taysom Hill.
Before they all popped off.
Schoonmaker last week. He had a double-digit game and a score. So I'm bringing you 2 low down the list streaming. You have to pick up. You're in deep league, guys. So number 1 is Noah Gray. Listen, I thought week 11 was a total fluke for him, but he followed it up again with another 2 touchdown game. So I looked into his stuff a little bit. He's actually over the last 2 weeks, he has led the team in end zone and red zone targets on that team. I think they are finding something that works with him, where they line him up, where they're positioning him. He's seen his targets increase the last 2 weeks. I think they found something with him in certain packages and positions. And when you're streaming the position, touchdowns really boost up your guys at this spot. And he scored 4.
That makes or break the week for you when you're streaming tight ends. You just want to find one that scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about Noah Gray, but I never take him seriously.
No.
He's the backup tight end on the Kansas City Chiefs with Travis Kelce there. He catches random touchdowns. He's involved in the passing game. You see him every game, right? You see him make these big plays every game. And there's some validity to what you're saying, because there is seeming like there's something there. And Noah Gray, put him on your lineup. See what happens. If you're streaming the position, you can't do much worse than what's going on when you're streaming. So I like it. Who's your other guy?
So my other guy is, I'm going to the other side of the Thursday game, and I'm going with Mr. Theo Johnson. Listen, on these type of tight ends, you're looking at targets, touchdowns or targets, one of the two. And he's seen 6 targets in each of his last 3 games. So that's big. He's been over 40 yards receiving in each of those 3 contests. And that's included last week with Tommy DeVito, who didn't do much of anything throwing the ball. Let's hope we get Drew Lock in this game. Maybe that would help out, I think. But listen, he's getting targets. He's facing a Dallas defense who let 35-year-old Zach Ertz just put up 15 PPR points on them.
Yeah, Zach Ertz is a great tight end, so watch your mouth, okay? 35-year-old tight end.
He's manageable.
He's a good tight end. So, no, you're right, though. Theo Johnson, maybe there's something there, okay? I'm not going to start him.
I would start Gray over him with the upside, but, if you're in a bind.
Yeah, if you're in a bind and say everybody's injured on your team and, put someone in your flex, maybe not a bad play. I can get behind that. My green light tight end of the week is not someone playing on Thanksgiving. So kind of veered off with my last pick. Did a lot of Thanksgiving picks. I'm going to do one not in Thanksgiving. Dallas Goedert. Okay. Dallas Goedert struggled last week, finished as tight end 22.
I was shocked about that.
Yeah, I was too. That one got me looking into it a little bit more, and for the 4 previous games to that, he scored over 10 points, finished inside the top 12 at the position. So he's been a very serviceable tight end. I wouldn't worry about the last week's tight end 22 finish. But Baltimore has given up the second most yards to tight ends and the most receptions in the NFL to tight ends. So I would count on Dallas Goedert to have a big week this week, and he would be in my lineup.
Yep, I can see that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for our week 13 red light, green light episode. We hope you guys all had some fun listening to these picks and make your lineups better because of it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving out there. Eat your stuffing, eat your turkey, drink your gravy, right? I mean, let's have a good time. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there. Shane, happy Thanksgiving to you. And we'll see you all Sunday morning live on YouTube and Twitter at 10 a.m. Come join us, talk football, ask questions, come hang out with the boys. Other than that, Shane, what should we do?
Gobble, gobble, knuckle up.